So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. This is Michelle Rowan. I'm President and COO of Franchise Business Review, and also have Eric Stites, our founder and CEO, on the line with us. And we designed this chat today to just give you some quick tips and ideas from the work that we've done with our clients over the last 15 years. We have had the pleasure of working with over 1,100 franchise systems, and we love sharing best practices or challenges that are common among development folks. So that's what we're doing here today. I know Eric has thrown a poll up, so if you guys want to answer that, we are definitely open for questions. So if you have them, just use the chat feature and ask us. We can also answer them at the end, and you are more than welcome to follow us up with us directly as well if we don't get to it today, because we are fast and furious with our 15 minutes. So Eric, we can share the poll results as well, but we're going to start talking about the importance of using data in your development efforts with candidates. And I think that it's safe to say we recognize the power of reviews and online research that everybody does before they make big purchases. I think when you're looking at homes, when you're looking at services like real estate agents, or when you're looking at products that you want to bring into your home, you're always looking for reviews. And I don't think that buying a franchise is any different. So they're looking for information online before they ever talk to someone on your team. So we want to just kind of start addressing how important it is to use data to differentiate your brand. So Eric, if you want to also just kind of, you just threw those poll results up, if you want to share those, and then let me know what you think as well.
Yeah, and I just shared those. I don't know if everybody saw them, but I was actually shocked to see that 67%, 2/3, are slightly ahead of target, which is great. Great news to hear. We must have some really top performing brands on the call.
Yes,
because that's
not what we're hearing.
Not what we've been.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not what we're hearing across the industry. So very, very interesting to see that for sure. You know, I guess anecdotally, what we've definitely heard is that, you know, leads are down, you know, traffic has been down. You know, I think a lot of people relate it to the economy, and you know, with a really good economy, obviously it takes a lot to get a candidate to, you know, jump ship from a comfortable job and go into a franchise business that may be unknown. So we're going to talk about ways to overcome that today.
Awesome. Well, and I think the other thing too that we notice, and I think I recognize it in my own life, you know, I'm on the phone a lot at work talking to people, but when I'm home, nobody wants to be sold. When you have a conversation, when you're looking to buy something, you just get that feeling that someone's just being salesy with you. And you just people don't want it anymore. So it's also too being really authentic and telling your story in a way that doesn't come across as salesy or schmoozy. And I think that we've also talked about this too, as much as there's the recommendation for franchisors to not bring on candidates just because they have the money or just because they've reached out to you. I think people still tend to do it because they get excited that they have someone that's interested. But really, when we're talking to our clients and the ones that have the strongest relationships with the franchisees and have strong growth, is that they're actually spending a lot of time coaching their development teams on how to talk that candidate out of buying their brand and really setting realistic expectations and more of kind of doing that. We might not be right for you, so that you're only getting those candidates that are really leaning forward and excited about your brand.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a great point. I mean, we obviously this is a development session and we're talking about ways to differentiate your brand, but obviously keeping those expectations realistic is important as well. And especially for brands that aren't having challenges with lead generation, which it seems like a lot of callers, a lot of attendees are not. You know, I think that even becomes more important to, you know, really make sure that, you know, if you do have a choice of candidates, to make sure you're choosing the best ones.
Yeah.
You know, I know we wanted to, you know, talk about some of the ways that, you know, people are differentiating their brands today and in telling that story. Certainly social media has become a huge part of that for a lot of brands. I know a lot of our clients have used it, and it's not just about telling your story as much as it is, really differentiating again between your competition and highlighting, what it is about your brand, using that third party validation, whether it's Franchise Business Review, Entrepreneur Magazine, other awards that you may have received, to really, again, bring that third party data to the party. It's interesting to see how many different clients are using social media and the creative ways that they're doing it with both video and photography and other ways.
Absolutely. Well, and when I talk to our clients, social is definitely working, and whether it's Facebook for some or LinkedIn from others, it does allow you to target the right audience. So if you have identified who is really that person you're looking for and where they're spending their time online, I think it can do good results. But for everybody, I always recommend the same thing. The one thing that works for franchise A doesn't always work for franchise B. So just making sure that you're really paying attention to the sources,
right.
to your cost per sale, to your cost per lead, so you know what's working for you. But I think that
right.
Using third-party type of data or awards absolutely lends credibility to your development team as well. So they're not saying, hey, I'm telling you we're awesome. You're getting it from an outside source that can help share that story or celebrate that award or that accolade.
Yeah. And, I guess one of the downsides of social media, I mean, obviously the technology is great. I think a few years ago, people, not everybody certainly was on board with it. I think today, the vast majority of people are. But those targeting features are available to everybody. So I think that consumers, candidates in particular, have become, almost numb because they realize that the technology allows people to target them much more specifically. And so you do have to, work on ways to have that be more authentic, to your point. The other thing I always like to tell people is, really understand who that candidate is that you're targeting. There's, certainly a lot of people that are story driven, but there's a lot of people that are also, kind of numbers and data driven. So for the, depending on who that candidate is you're trying to target, whether it be in social, whether it be in print, and the other places that you may advertise is really leverage, that data. If it is a more data centric person that you're trying to target, and present that data in a way that's engaging to them.
Absolutely. I think there's great ways to think about the storytelling side, the people that are in your system, and then this data side to really incorporate it into your social campaigns, into drip campaigns that you're doing through your CRM, on your website, at trade shows. So these are good examples. So I think we have this is one of our clients' websites, and I think the next slide will show a closer up piece of it. But we know that most of our franchise clients are pulling the FDDs of their competitors, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's good to know what your competition is doing and what they're sharing in their FDD. But I think that this is a great example of, you can show, this client is showing their data versus our industry benchmark, but you could do this for anything. So you can use your satisfaction data, but you could also pull anything out of the FDD as far as investment costs or territory sizes, anything you can do that kind of gives your audience a perspective of here's us versus others, that really helps differentiate your brand. I think that can be really powerful. So thinking about what you have access to and how you talk to your candidates and you talk about you versus the others, actually put that in print and give people that context to kind of put your brand into some kind of point for them to understand what you think you're better at or how those numbers stack up.
Absolutely. And I think, certainly carrying through that process all the way through to discovery day and thinking about, when you do get a candidate to come to discovery day and come to headquarters, or even if it's a regional visit with other franchisees, I mean, using all that data, using the awards, again, whether it's Franchise Business Review, Entrepreneur, all that third-party validation and credibility just speaks volumes. And making sure that it's clearly visible to candidates as they come through your door. Reinforcing that when they're meeting with the marketing team and the support team, and just again that third-party credibility will go a long way.
Agreed. And then we always talk about those people that were on your list that you had an exciting conversation with about a year ago, and then they went dark or they never moved forward. We encourage our clients to take any recent survey data they have from us and go back out to that list and just to see if they're still thinking about you. Share some kind of new piece of content. If you're in an article, if one of your executive team has been on a TED Talk or some kind of outside accolade has happened, reach back out to those contacts that expressed some real genuine interest in your system and then disappeared, and give them something to look at and see if it re-engages them. It might be a better time for them. They might still be kind of thinking where there is a lot of job security right now and unemployment's low. It might be that they're thinking about your brand as a nice thing to do, but not something that they need to move forward at. So hitting them when they might be a little less happy at their job or ready to take that leap is always a great way to try and re-engage them.
Yeah, I just wanted to share for a minute too. I mean, obviously, the awards are great. Any award is great. Showing your team. I mean, I know when we give out our awards at the IFA. I mean, I can't believe how excited, especially operations teams get with the award. Sharing that out with your franchisees to show how proud you are of the award. Obviously, it came from them. A lot of our clients will actually even give some of our pins out to their franchisees just to, again, thank them for their feedback. And especially, when you talk about companies that, and I know we've actually got a couple on the call today that are in our Hall of Fame that have been, on our awards list for over 10 years, and how that just, sends such a strong message and speaks volumes about the brand. And again, getting your franchisees excited about that as well as candidates, and using that in all your PR is a great way to generate additional exposure for the brand.
Yeah, and if your franchisees are excited about your brand and they are feeling good about it, they're going to be talking about you with other people in their lives that could always be your next potential franchisee as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we scheduled this with the idea that it would just be 15 minutes, and we've got about 2 minutes left. I know we've got a number of existing clients on the call, but for those that haven't been involved in our research and awards before, I just wanted to just kind of give you kind of that how do we achieve that top franchise status. And I mean, we've worked with over 1,100 brands in the last 15 years. Each year we do awards that we distribute at the IFA, and we do different research projects throughout the year. So you can get involved anytime. Now is a great time. The survey work is completely confidential, so there's no risk of anything being shared without your permission. And it really gives you that sense, whether you're using it for development or operations. I mean, our best clients certainly use it for both. But it just gives you that KPI to keep, what is the mindset of our franchisees, and how do we, make sure that validation is always going to be strong, and get your system involved. And, and if you need help, certainly, if you happen to be someone that's not at the C-level suite, certainly we can provide you and your team resources to kind of educate your team on all the reasons why you should participate.
Yes, and it's free and it's confidential just to be part of the awards research piece. So would love for you to drop a note if you aren't participating, if your company isn't participating, to let me know why. Happy to answer any questions. I'm always interested why people don't do this when it is free, it's confidential, and it's a great way to just kind of get that baseline of how they're feeling. And also, too, drop us a note if you're going to be attending the Leadership and Development Conference in Atlanta in October. We'll be down there. But we just really love franchising. We love our clients because they are really focused on growing their brands the right way with the right people, setting realistic expectations. So we really enjoy celebrating the brands that do it right. And it really just comes down to, if you have a model that's focused on unit profitability and satisfaction, it's a great model for both franchisors and franchisees. So we want to help keep promoting that. Thanks, everybody, for joining us.
Thanks, guys.